This is how I improved my English. Hi, my name is Min Thu. In this video, I want to tell you what I did to improve my English. I started learning English in 2013. I was a young man and I wanted to change my life. So I decided to learn English. First, I wanted to be a tourist guide, but in 2015, I decided to become a teacher. Until now, I am teaching English online and I'm sharing knowledge of English on social media. As I told you before, in this video, I'm going to tell you what I did to improve my English. When I was a basic student, when I was a beginner, I memorized every lesson. Here, you will say memorizing is not good, but I memorized every lesson. The result was that when I practiced with my classmates in the classroom, I remembered every lesson. I remembered the questions, I remembered the answers, and when somebody asked me questions, I could answer easily. And I could also ask questions because I remembered every lesson. And I also want to tell you how I did my homework. I did my homework at least 5 hours a day. I studied in a class for 1.5 an hour, 5 days a week. Before the lessons, I went to the class about 15 minutes earlier because I wanted to practice with my classmates. Some of my classmates came to class earlier, like me, to practice, to ask and answer the questions. We asked and answered the questions. And I did my homework a lot. As I told you recently, I did my homework for at least 5 hours a day. I had a timetable to do my homework. For example, an hour for the text. I read the text again and again. I read questions and answers. I read sentences again and again. 1 hour for reading. I read storybooks. I read easy books to improve my reading skill, to improve vocabularies. I bought a lot of storybooks. I didn't read big books. I just read easy storybooks because reading difficult books, reading big books when you are a beginner cannot help you. So I just read easy books. I translated with a dictionary. My teacher bought a dictionary for me. I used it to translate and to find the examples of expressions. So I read a story or I read something for an hour. I wrote for an hour, so an hour for writing. I wrote the lessons, I wrote the texts, I wrote the sentences because I wanted to improve my writing skill and I wanted to remember the vocabularies, the spellings of the words. It really helped me, especially when I became a teacher. I knew that it helped me. When I became a teacher, I needed to know the spelling of every word when I was in my classroom. So I wrote the lessons for an hour. Let's say I copied the lessons and I wrote them down in my notebook. Another hour for listening. I listened to the audio lessons for an hour. First, I got some easy audio lessons from my teachers. I listened to the audio lessons for an hour every day. First, I didn't understand anything, but I listened to them every day. And my teacher told me to listen to an audio lesson again and again, like we listen to a song. So I listened to an audio lesson, not many, an audio lesson again and again. Little by little, I understood and I could catch the words, the sentences, the expressions. So I got happier to listen to the audio lessons. And my suggestion for you here is, if you want to improve your listening skill, don't listen to many audio lessons at the same time. Try to listen to one audio lesson again and again, and try to catch the pronunciation and the accent. It is really important. And another 1 hour, I created my own sentences. When I was in the classroom, I got new expressions from my teachers. I got new expressions from the textbook. I got new expressions from the storybooks. I wanted to remember all those expressions, and I wanted to use them in my conversations. But as you know, we forget things quickly. I didn't want to forget all the expressions I got, all the expressions I had learned. So I found a way to remember all the expressions I had learned before. That was creating. So I created my own sentences with the expressions I learned. When we create our own sentences, we need to think. So thinking in English is very important. We need to think in English if we want to speak faster, if we want to speak effortlessly. So I thought in English and I created my own sentences. Sometimes I got beautiful ideas and I wrote them down, I noticed them, and I used them when I practiced with my classmates. It really helped me. You should try that. The most important thing was that I was crazy about English. I wanted to improve my English a lot. I wanted to speak English very well. I wanted to speak with foreigners. I wanted to speak better than my classmates. So I did my homework a lot. I practiced with my classmates. And I listened to my teacher. My teacher was the best. And he gave me the best advice to improve my English, to improve my pronunciation, and to get more knowledge of English. Okay, this is what I did to improve my English. I hope you got something from this video. And if you learn English like me, I'm sure you will improve your English a lot, and you will speak better English. That is all for today. Good luck with your learning.